How's it? What we're going to do is get some of our pictures that we've taken from our room or house and put them in a collage. Notice that all of the pictures here are like good lighting, they're bright. There's even some dark stuff in here, like see the black, but it's contrast with the white and the brightness. So you want to do contrast. Like you wouldn't want to put two pink things next to each other like this shirt and this shirt. And you want to do good contrast. It's also good to put like maybe eyes, like sunglasses near the eyes. Also, if you notice the sunglasses, you can kind of see through it. So some things in photos you might not be able to choose wisely, the ones you want to use. Kind of like this one with the different contrasts with this one. And this one's really bright. I love how it's all jam-packed in here, but it's all arranged in a creative way. So let's get started. First of all, you want to find your pictures, and so you're just going to select them and drag them into Photoshop, the icon. If you drag them into the icon, they'll all open up into different layers right here. So the first thing we can do is you can actually adjust the coloring. So if it is a little dark or whatnot, you can go to Image Adjustments and then Brightness, okay? And you can actually brighten them up. And notice how it's more clear distinction between the dark and the light. Okay, I'm going to contrast the two and hit OK. You can also go up to, let's do the paint, the hat. You can also go to Image Adjustments and Curves. Okay, and with our curves, we can basically drag this down and make it darker, or actually drag it up. Okay, and you can kind of bend the curves to the lighting. Okay, so you see the lighting here with the lights and the darks. So if you want more of a contrast, if you just want it bright, this is an easy way too of just bending it for more of a contrast look. Okay, so I'm gonna hit OK, and then here again, you can either do brightness or levels. Levels is also an option where you can bring in your whites and your darks. So if you look here, these are your darks, and if you bring this over here, it minimizes those darks, or we can make it brighter. Okay. So those are three ways that you can adjust your lighting, and that's with brightness and contrast, levels, and curves. And I guess you could even do exposure, image adjustments and exposure. And if our overall exposure is higher, it's going to be brighter, although the contrast level is kind of washed out. So you can contrast it with the offset, okay, with a little bit of pop, and so that kind of really looks good with the brightness. So those are four ways you can adjust the lighting of it. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's do something simple like the painting. Okay, so I'm going to choose the rectangle marquee, and I can if you have anything that's rectangular, you can just draw a rectangle or square. If you hold on the space bar, you can like keep that same dimension and move it around. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So again, my marquee is right here. I can hold on the space bar while I'm holding down the click button and then get exactly what I want. And I'm going to hit Command C, okay, and then go into my shadow collage and hit Command V. And then hit V as in Victor to move it around. Command T to transform. Hold on the Shift key always when you transform. And then I can decide where I want that. Now we're going to be like cutting it out, you know, based on the head. So I think first it's good just to overlay your images like that. So that was the rectangle one. If you have any circle ones, you can use these elliptical marquee tool. And you can draw a circle around it, and again hold on the Shift key to move over your circle. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I just wouldn't want to show the white, right? So I'm going to hit Command C and then Command V. okay, and Command T to transform, okay, maybe I'll put this by as enter, and V as in Victor, and maybe I'll move this right here. If you want to select this layer again, you can hit Control click, and then layer 2 it says it'll be selected, because if looks like it didn't save from before, so I'm going to put that and overlay it with the layers. Now it's really important, you'll have your layers guide. If you don't see this, you can go to Window Layers, but you'll want to name these. So I'll come and call this Painting, just double click it, okay. I'll name this Speaker, okay. If I want my speaker to be behind the painting, I can drag it below, okay. Also, if you hold on Command key and then right bracket, left bracket next to the P, you can also move it up and down that way, okay. Now, I showed you how to do circle marquee, rectangle marquee, okay. Now, you remember we did lassoing, magnetic lasso. Remember, we can quickly magnetic lasso something around like we did the shadow collage. But I also want to show you the magic wand tool, W on the keyboard, and by default it'll select the quick selection tool, and you can right bracket, left bracket, make it bigger or smaller, the selection. And notice how you can just like kind of hold it down and drag, and notice how it selects it really easily, okay. Now if you look here, I selected it outside of the space right here, okay. Now what I can do is mask it. If you look on the bottom left, you'll see a rectangle below the colors, and you'll see the mask. And what I can do is I can clean that up, okay. So what I can do is instead of the selection tool, hit Command D, I can go in here and we can actually E for eraser tool, okay. So let's say you had too much, you want to erase more of this selection. So now if I click on here, see, notice this is selected. But that's the opposite of what I want to do. I actually wanted to like not select that, okay. So I'm going to hit the double arrow. It's like an arrow like this and this next to the colors on the left. I'm going to switch it so it's white, right, instead of black. And then I'm going to like just paint it in here. And if it's too big, I can left bracket and make it a little bit smaller, okay. I can come in here and paint it around to get that selection tool. And if I don't like, I can hit Command Z and kind of do that. Mainly this is just for cleaning up details. So, okay. And then when I'm done, I can hit the quick mask again and notice that the selection is there. Hit down the space bar, look over it. Looks pretty good, right? So it's called marching ants. It's being selected around it. So I hit Command C, go back here, Command V, and there's my hat. Hit the V as in Victor, and then Command T to transform, okay. And you always hold on the Shift key, and then I can rotate it as well. If you want to do some things to it, and again, always rename your layers. So I'm going to call this hat. Control click, I'm going to select the speaker. Okay, you can also flip things. So if you go to the layer, and you can do a range, bring forward, left forward, things like that. But you can also hit Command T, okay, and then you can actually flip it. Okay, so notice now it's on this side. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. If I did that to the Nike sign would be backwards, or if the words would be backwards, so I probably not do it to things like that. So be aware of that. Another way of quickly selecting things, you can also go to the magic wand tool. Okay, so the quick selection, sometimes it doesn't select it as well as you want, so you can do a magic wand tool. And if I click on this white area, okay, notice it selected everything, okay, except notice this little part here. See how it's a little bit colored? It didn't select that. What I can do is erase the tolerance. Right now it's looking for really detailed color variations. In that color variation, I want to say, yeah, let's just, that color is white, you know, so maybe it's going to go like 77. So I'm going to select it again. It's still selecting that, so maybe a higher number, maybe 100. Okay, notice it's less. Okay, it selected it less, so maybe 150. There you go. See 150? Now it said, okay, we won't be very strict on the color. 150, that's a really high tolerance, so we'll put up with it. And then it selected it just like this. Now, right now it's selecting around the text, around the cap. So I hit delete, notice that around the cap. So if I want to invert the selection, Command-Shift-I inverts the selection. Now only the cap is selected. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Command-C, and then go in here, Command-V, and then V as in Victor, and paste it. Okay, and I can hit Command+ to zoom it in. If there is a little bit of, you can hit E, eraser tool. You know, you can clean things up. You know, if things look a little bit awkward. And, yeah, something like that. So, what you'll keep on doing is arranging your objects around. Now, once you find your objects, again, see the black? I want to keep my black away from each other. Keep the black next to the white. So maybe this one I'll put over like here. This one's here. Maybe the hat I'll bring. It actually would be better if I put the hat on top, right? But let's go with this painting. Okay. Now we want to cut out the outline here. Okay, so it kind of outlines his head. So what I want to do is go to layer 1, and I'm going to call this shadow, which is his shadow, right? And I'm going to select his shadow. So the easiest way to select it is the magic wand, okay? And then I can just click it on the outward border. And right now it's selected the outside of the background. And that's, you see this? I want to actually delete this part of the background, so it's perfect. But if you hit delete right now, it's going to delete nothing right now. It's just like the color. So I want to move up and click on the painting, okay, with it still selected, and then hit delete. And notice how it deleted it there as well. So the best thing to do is, if I was all ready, notice that the hat is also selected here. So I can just go to my hat and then just hit delete on that, and it cuts it out. Well, it wasn't a very good choice, so make sure you choose good choices. So again, put all your photos in there, and then select it, and then delete it. And then if you want to move it around, okay, Command-D is deselect. If I want to move my hat, notice it's cropped out. So I would need to like go back and copy and paste it back in if I wanted a different placement. So make sure you have your margins, like this is a good margin, and it matches this margin. Make sure you're not too long, but not too short on the neck. And then make sure your text, you know, it doesn't look too crumpled. If you have a long last name, maybe you could have a big first name and then a short or a smaller last name to emphasize it. You don't want like a small text. And then, yeah, and make sure your colors are good. And then when you're done, you shouldn't see any yellow, okay? That should all be covered up. And then you're done, and hopefully you'll be proud of your shadow collage and how it represents you. So have fun.